Here with headlines today, and now news coming in that ex-Telecom Minister A. Raja had misled the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh on policy matters pertaining to the 2G spectrum allocation. CBI has told a special court that A. Raja had deliberately advanced the cut-off date to favour accused firms in 2G allocation. So the CBI, in fact, to the court said that 2G spectrum was granted to ineligible companies like Swan Telecom Private Limited and Unitech. Clearly, Atir Khan, in fact, my colleague, is joining us on the phone line. Atir, some relief there, of course, for Dr. Manmohan Singh.
Well, that's right. You see, the CBI was of the view that the former Telecom Minister A. Raja had, diverted from the prescribed route, and now that has been clarified in the special court. Now, the CBI has stated in the court that he had actually misled the Prime Minister on the policy matters regarding allocation of the spectrum, and he had favoured certain companies, including Swan Telecom and Unitech, by advancing the cut-off date for applying for these licenses.
Right, thank you so much, Atir Khan. Absolutely. So that news coming in of that CBI, of course, had mentioned to the Supreme Court that A. Raja apparently deliberately advanced the spectrum, and this comes as a breather, of course, for the former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan, who is also an accused, in fact, in the coal scam and the coal allocations case, where he has, in fact, been asked several questions that need answering for. Continuing with the breaking news at this hour, former Telecom Minister A. Raja had misled the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh on policy matters pertaining to 2G spectrum allocation. Now, CBI is, we are told, that has of course mentioned it to the special court that Raja had deliberately advanced the cut-off date to favour accused firms in 2G allocation. CBI, in fact, to the court said that the 2G spectrum was granted to ineligible companies like Swan Telecom Private Limited and Unitech. So at a time when the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, in fact, has also been the accused in the coal allocation related cases of the 2005 Talabira 2, in fact, coal block allocations. And now this comes as a breather for former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. News coming in of the CBI statement, in fact, in the special court that is listening in to the cases related to the 2G spectrum, where they seem to have suggested that, in fact, the telecom minister at that point in time, A. Raja, had misled the former Prime Minister. Executive Editor Javed Ansari is joining us now on the phone line. Javed, if you could just first take us through what exactly has transpired in the court.
Look, apparently the CBI has told the court that Mr. Raja, the then Telecom Minister, misled Dr. Manmohan Singh on this issue. If you remember, the CBI had, under the directions of the magistrate, twice cross-examined Dr. Singh, and it came to the conclusion that there was no malafide on the part of Dr. Singh. However, then the summons were issued, and the rest is history. Now the CBI has told the court that Dr. Singh was misled. Therefore, this will be seen as some kind of a relief for Dr. Singh.
Right. But Javed, where does the case now stand? Going forward, what are we expecting now?
Look, as far as Dr. Singh's case is concerned, it's been, it's in abeyance. It's been stayed. The Supreme Court will apply its mind to it. It's been stayed by the Supreme Court. As far as the ongoing 2G case is concerned, it's still in process. The hearings are continuing, and once they are complete, the learned judges will come to a conclusion. So right now, it's just a part of the process. This long, tedious legal process is slowly winding its way.
Javed, how do you see it playing out politically, given the fact that, of course, in the Colgate scam as well, we saw the Congress back Dr. Manmohan Singh to the hilt, including Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, of course, leading that. And now this comes as a breather in the 2G, in fact, telecom spectrum issue as well. Does it provide, in fact, a little more space to the Congress party?
Look, as far as Dr. Singh's involvement is concerned, even the BJP was treating it with kid gloves, irrespective of what they may have said in the lead-up to and during the election campaign. But thereafter, especially after summons were issued, there was a kind of sympathy for Dr. Singh, because even his political opponents agree on one thing, that Dr. Singh, that there can be no malafide or no no corruption as far as Dr. Singh is concerned. They may have political differences with him. The DMK, of course, on the other hand, may have something to say, because the DMK does believe that it was hung out to dry, and especially A. Raja and Kanimodi were the government of the day did not really exert itself to try and help them out.
So, right. So, are you expecting the DMK then perhaps to come out with statements where they might just suggest that it's a scapegoat that is being made out of A. Raja?
Yes, I won't be surprised if the DMK has something to say on this issue.
Thank you so much, Javed Ansari, for joining us with that perspective and all the updates on this case as well.